Recently, I have been seeing a lot of anti-America campaigns from the travelers saying that they won't travel to the USA. If you would ask me a few years ago, I might agree with it. But not after traveling to the USA 3 times. I get that Trump is not the most welcoming US president ever. But I personally think that if we are going to judge an entire country for the people running it, then we are most likely going to end up not leaving our own country. Or if you are one of those people who hate their own government, then most likely you'll end up in Mars. No kidding. Which is why I believe that the US deserves to be visited by travelers, because it is more than what Hollywood movies and media tell us. So here are the 5 reasons why you should travel to the USA. 1. The US has one of the most diverse and insane landscapes. I remember reading a report which shows Americans don't travel abroad a lot compared to other Westerners. And one of the reasons cited is because Americans think that there are lots of things to do and see within the US. Upon reading it, I thought that Americans are missing out. Then I traveled around the US and visited a couple of national parks and realized that they are right. Some of the most insane landscapes that I have ever seen are from the US. The US has so many beautiful and unique national parks such as Grand Canyon and Bryce Canyon National Parks, insane mountains, nice beaches, lakes, charming little towns, and has the most diverse and alive cities in the world. If you have all of these in your country, will you still travel abroad? Probably, yes. But my point is, there are tons of things to see and interesting to do in the US that they are enough for a lot of Americans. And in my opinion, foreign travelers should see it for themselves too. 2. American sports can be fun. I am not a big fan of sports, so it doesn't sound fun to me at all. But I have never seen any country where people talk about sports all the time. I have met American women who are very much into sports and kids who get excited about watching baseball or football, and it's quite fascinating for me. A lot of kids in Southeast Asia are always on their phones, and sport can mean a video game. But in the US, baseball or basketball can be a good family and friends time. Sports is more than a pastime, it is a way to connect and socialize. And if you can, try to watch any local games. It's far more interesting than seeing it on your TV screen. 3. There's a culture in the US and it's interesting. A lot of travelers I know think that there's no culture in the US. I must admit, I was guilty thinking of this. Growing up in the Philippines during the 90s, we pretty much grew up in Hollywood movies, US TV shows, and American music. I see Americans on TV all the time, and being colonized by Americans, the Philippines is pretty much Americanized in some ways. So going to the US doesn't appeal to me because there is nothing exotic or new for me. Until I visited the country and realized that American culture has a very distinctive character, and that is diverse cultural influences that make up the United States of America. It's a melting pot of cultures. It's a combination of European, Asian, American Indian, Latin America, African, Polynesian, and other races. It's a representation of almost every country in the world that creates a unique blend of American culture, which is interesting as any other culture, or probably more, in the world. 4. Americans know customer service. One thing that always tests my limit when traveling is the lack of customer service in some countries. From hotels to restaurants, shops or airline, expect people not to pay attention to people. But I am impressed with the quality of customer service in the US, especially in restaurants. I had an interesting discussion with my South African partner about this. I told him it is probably the tipping culture. Money is a good motivator, right? Then he said, well, There's a tipping culture here in South Africa as well, and yet some customer service people still don't care. And that obviously trumps my argument. Americans just care about the quality of their brands and service. 5. The US is still generally safe. Safety when traveling is a valid concern. So when people say that they are afraid of visiting the US because of all the gun problems, it is something that you really have to consider. Am I horrified by the number of mass shootings in the US? Yes. But safety is something that no one can guarantee 100%. I am from the Philippines and studied in Manila during the early 2000s. This was during the height of bombings in public places in the country, including Manila. To say that I was always cautious where I'd go is an understatement. I used to live in fear in my own country and thought it was the worst. Then a few years ago, I had a work assignment in Belize City and had to live there for a half year. Although the violence and crime are a bit tamer compared to its neighbors, Mexico, Honduras, and El Salvador, it's too small for too many shootings in one day. It's too small that I know people who got shot while living there. Our former staff even told me that gunshots are very common in their village, that she just have to wait 10 minutes after hearing shots and then move on. It's too far common that people don't care anymore. Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe the channel.